I'm really excited to be making a macaron video. My macaron making journey started about 3 years ago, and to be honest, the first results were an absolute disaster. A delicious disaster, but a disaster nonetheless. Anyway, I've gotten better over time, and I'm quite eager to share my tips with you. I find that it's better to have everything set out before you start, so that way everything is within reach and then you can go through the process quite quickly. To make a batch of macarons, you will need 140 grams of ground almond flour. You'll need 140 grams of icing sugar, which is also called confectioner's sugar. It's also called powdered sugar. You'll need 100 grams of white granulated sugar. You'll also need 100 grams of egg whites split in 250-gram bowls, and then 40 grams of water. You could color your macarons any color in the world, so feel free. The world is your rainbow. But today we'll be coloring them pink, and I use gel food coloring. Please do not use liquid food coloring because they will ruin the batter. I also hear you could use powdered food coloring, but I personally have never done that. So if you try it, let me know how that goes. You'll find that I have a couple of baking trays here, which I have lined with parchment paper. Parchment paper, not wax paper. We don't want to start a fire. Underneath the parchment paper, I have put a Macaron template, which you can get online, most macaron making websites. It just helps to guide the piping of the macarons to get even sizes. Don't worry too much if you don't get your piping right the first time. It will still be delicious regardless. It just takes some practice. I have here a couple of piping bags, and I've put them over cups just to make it easy to fill. And what else? We need a thermometer. I'll show you what we're going to do with this in a minute. And a couple of spatulas, a sieve, and we're ready to go. So let's get started. Now the fun really begins. So we're going to start with making an Italian meringue, which is basically just pouring hot sugar into whipped egg whites. A little frightening, I know, but I promise it really works. I start off by heating my water and sugar on medium heat. And then it's time for the egg whites, which I whip until they're nice and frothy. Once the sugar gets to 118 degrees Celsius, which is what I needed the candid thermometer for, I carefully transfer it to my fluffy egg whites and drizzle it in ever so carefully, whipping it until the egg whites get to a nice marshmallowy consistency, and then we're ready for the next phase. By mixing the almond flour and powdered sugar together, I ensure that they're mixed through nicely, and to double check that there are no lumps, I sift it through to trap any lumps that might be hiding in the mix. Then I add the other 50 grams of egg whites and food coloring and make a nice thick paste. And now we're about to start what is known as macaronage, which is just simply a fancy term for introducing the meringue to the almond paste. Just add a third of it first of all, and then once I have the nice fluid mixture I'm looking for, I add the rest of the meringue until I have a consistency that is not unlike runny honey, thick runny honey. Be careful to use a folding, scraping motion. We don't want to overbeat this because that would ruin everything and you'll end up with basically a runny batter that would pipe onto your parchment. I find piping to be quite therapeutic and satisfying, so I take my time on piping the macaron batter onto my parchment-lined baking trays, using the Macaron templates as a guide. And as if that therapy wasn't enough, we have another therapeutic stage, which involves basically dropping your tray on the table several times, which serves to really release the air pockets. You could also go over it with a toothpick to catch any bubbles that may have escaped. It's important to allow the macarons rest for about 35 minutes. It will form a thin skin over it, and when you touch it, it won't be sticky. Once it has gotten there, you pop it in the oven for 20 minutes and let it bake. And there you have it. Wonderful, delicious macaron, which you can fill with anything that catches your fancy. I'm partial to buttercream and lemon curd. Please subscribe to our channel, like the video, and drop a comment on our Facebook and Instagram pages.